Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on Python list. List is the most important data type in Python. It doesn't matter whether you are doing web development work, game development or data science work, you are going to use list in one or the other way in your Python program. Let's understand some of the common properties of list first. So the first property is lists are ordered. So list is just not merely collection of some data types, it is an ordered collection. Next property is list can contain multiple data types. So whether it's an integer, a string, float or boolean, all can be assembled together in a single list. Next property is lists are dynamic in nature. In my next video, I'm going to show you some list methods which will be helpful in adding or deleting elements from a particular list. Hence, you can increase or decrease the length of a list in a dynamic way. It is somewhat similar to the concept of arrays in other programming languages. Next property is list can be accessed by index. So first we will see what list index looks like, and then we will see how we can use this index to access the elements of a particular list. The last and the most important property of a list is lists are mutable. Mutability means you can change the value of a particular element in a list. You can actually overwrite the value. There are some data types like tuples and string for which you cannot change the values. Hence, lists are mutable in which you can override the existing value of some elements. First, we will see how to define an empty list. So there are two ways to define an empty list. The first way is using the square bracket notation, which is the most common way to define a list in Python. The second way to define an empty list is by using the list method. We actually use list method for explicit conversion of some objects to list type. Let's define our first list with some elements. So I'm defining a list with the name friends, and then I am inserting three elements which are Ross, Monica and Joey. All these three elements are of string type. Once I execute this, friends list will be created in my Python environment. If I want to look how my friends list looks like, I can simply write the name of list and execute this cell block, and now you can see I have my three elements in my list, which are Ross, Monica and Joey. Let's test our first property, which says lists are ordered. So for this test, I'm going to create two lists. These two lists are friends underscore A and friends underscore B. Now these two lists have the same elements. As you can see, both the lists have three elements and the value of elements are same. The only thing which differs in this two lists is the order. In first I have Ross at first position, whereas in second I have Ross at the last position. So if lists are ordered, when I compare this to list, the result should be false. So here I am using my comparison operator to compare this to list, and if I execute this cell block first to create list and then this cell block, I am getting the result as false. Hence, we can say that lists are ordered. Next we will see how we can insert multiple elements or multiple data types in a list. So I'm creating a list friends underscore random, and here I have defined first two elements as string variables, next two as integers, third one is again a string, then a float and then a boolean. So all the data types are present in my list. Now if list can contain multiple data types, I should not get any error when I execute this cell block. As you can see, I didn't get any error, and if I want to see how my friends underscore random list looks like, I can simply execute this cell, and here it is. So this proves that list can contain multiple data types. Next we want to see what are the list index and how we can use this index to access the elements of my list. One important rule to know while using index is list indexing is zero based. In fact, the Python language itself is a zero based language, which means that in Python we are going to start the counting from number 0, right? So let's create a list by the name real underscore friends. I have 6 elements, all 6 are string types. So when I create this list in my Python environment, this is how it looks to interpreter. What interpreter does, it associates or gives an index to each and every element. Of course, the element at first position will be given an index of 0. Then next element will have 1, then 2, 3, 4 and 5. We also have reverse indexing in Python. So of course the last element will have -1 as its index, -2 for the second last element, -3, -4, -5 and -6 for my first element. So now we know how Python associates the index to each and every element of the list. Now let's use this index to access the elements of my list. To access the elements by using index, first we have to use the list name. Then you can use square brackets. Inside square bracket, you have to mention the index of element that you want to access. So when I use 0, I'm going to get my first element in the output. If I use instead of 0 the index 3, I will get my fourth element here, which it says Chandler. So this is what I'm getting in the output. If I want to access the last element in my list, of course I will give real friends in square brackets -1. When I execute this, I'm getting the last element of my list, which was Phoebe. I want to introduce to you one very important function, which is the length function. What I have to do is, to this length function, or in short len, I'm going to pass my name of my list, and in return it will give me the length of that particular list. So here I have 6 elements, hence the length of this particular list is 6. The last property for today is mutable. So as I explained earlier, mutable means you can overwrite the existing elements of your list. So let's see first how our list looks like. So now my list have 3 elements, which are Ross, Monica and Joey, and let's say I want to replace the value of Ross with Matt. So to do that, first I will use my indexing to access the element. So here I want to replace my first element, so I'm using the index 0 to access this element, and then by using the assignment operator I can give the new value which I want to assign. So here I want to assign Matt in place of Ross. Once I do that, I will execute this cell block, and then I'm printing my list again here by using the list name. Once I execute this, you can see the name Ross is replaced with Matt now. Hence we can say that lists are mutable types. That's all for today guys. Thanks for watching. Happy learning and stay safe.